Earl Hardin 10,000, Barrett 10,000, and Mallory 8,500. So way to go on those numbers, you guys. We just finished the promo that we had running for the party bus. So we are going to have we are going to announce the winners of that soon. We are just waiting for the final numbers. You know how they take a couple of days for us to know the actual final numbers. So as soon as we've got those, we will finalize them and we will post it in the chat for all of you guys to see. We're super excited for that party bus for the View. If you guys don't have your tickets for the View, make sure you've got it. It is going to be the most incredible event that we have. If you have never been, make sure that you reach out to me or your upline. If you're brand new on this call, we definitely want to get you guys to the events and plugged into what's going on so that you can have success right out of the gates. But I'm excited about today's call. We've got David Decker from Royal Neighbors. So David Decker has been with Royal Neighbors for 9 years, and he is the head of sales with them. So he knows exactly what he's talking about. If you guys have questions on this call today, please, please, please put them in the chat, and I will absolutely have him address them. Because they've had a lot of underwriting changes this year, as you guys are aware of. So we wanted to make sure you guys were up to speed on what's going on. And he was actually, I'm going to steal a little bit of his thunder because I'm very excited about him. He was $1 million producer for a couple of years. So he knows what it's like to be in the field. He's not just a guy who, works in an office or is, going to different locations to meet with agent. Like, he was an agent at one point himself. He knows what he's talking about. So I'm going to pass it over to you, David. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. You can hear me, right? Thumbs up.
Yep, we got you.
Make sure I'm loud and clear. I'm coming to you today from my bunker in central New Jersey. And yeah, I think it is important. A lot of times you'll have a call and the person on the other side of the webinar, used to be on the other side of the phone, has never actually sold a life insurance contract, right? So they've never driven 2 hours and have a door slammed in your face, or gotten to the house and nobody's home, or had a dog chase you off the property, or have a sale that went south right before your mortgage payment was due. I've experienced all of that. And I am actually celebrating, I still have to do the math here, I know I don't look old enough, I got plenty of gray hair here, but my 38th year in the insurance business. I was very fortunate when I first got out of college to start working for a great company called MetLife, who no longer sells life insurance in the United States. And I made the biggest mistake of my life after 3 years of very successful selling, which was I went to the dark side, which was the home office. And I got out of sales. I'd like to think I'd probably be retired living off my renewals now had I stayed in sales. But pretty much everything that has ever been done at an insurance company, other than underwriting, I have done. So I have a great amount of experience that I'm willing to share with anybody out there. But bottom line, it's about activity, as we used to call it, APP-tivity. It's just the more people you see, the more phone calls you make, the more people you visit. Some of it's luck, but there's a million sayings about hard work turns into luck eventually. That's what I found. I mean, I would go to visit people, even if it was a beneficiary change. If I had nothing else more important to do, I would go visit, because activity is the key. So anyway, enough about me. I could go on for hours, but I'm just going to share this deck, which just usually keeps me honest. Otherwise, I could probably talk all day, which you definitely don't want to hear. Right, let's see. Come on, you open up. You don't want to see my notes. I don't read those anyway. All right, you can see that, right? Rachel, thumbs up. All right, the most important thing from today's call, I think you could shoot a picture of that QR code, my cell phone number, and my email address. Email and cell phone, use me as your key point of contact, unless you usually you work through your upline. Any questions? I get questions all day long. David, I applied for preferred and I got standard. David, this case was declined or ended up guaranteed issue. Royal Neighbors is a relatively small company. Proud to say that all of our employees live in the United States. There's about 150 of us. Very easy company to navigate. So if you need to understand why a case ended up the way that it ended up, I talk to our chief underwriter about 5 times a day. I will provide you whatever information that I can, but please feel free to come to me directly. I know my title sounds intimidating, but at the end of the day, I spend most of my day communicating back and forth with our IMOs and our agents, just to try to help them navigate the company and find out what it is to help you be more successful. So with that, similar to foresters, if you do business with foresters or other small fraternal organizations, we are a fraternal, right? Insurance 101 for those of you that may have recently taken your insurance test. Stock company, mutual company, fraternal organization. Stock company, when the company makes money, it goes back to the shareholders. Mutual company, when the company makes money, it goes back to the policyholders in the form of a dividend. A fraternal organization, what we do is we sell life insurance to take the profit and put it back into the communities that we serve. So we're very proud of our philanthropic nature, giving away as much money as we possibly can. This could be an all-day meeting on our fraternal side of the organization. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it today, but we have a number of different ways for not only you, but your customer to gain access to the money. Difference Maker Fund, we write about $1 million in checks that are about $10,000 to different individuals who make a difference in their community. Nation of Neighbors checks, another organization that we have under our wings that we send money out. We get measured based upon social good. Believe it or not, at Royal Neighbors, my bonus is dependent upon sales, profitability, and our social good. So Royal Neighbors, we're very proud of having a history of volunteering. For those of you that don't know, we have and continue to be a female-led organization. We were one of the first insurance companies in the United States that offered life insurance to women when they couldn't own property and they couldn't vote. Even to date, we still have a female president, all female board of directors, and that is not going to change anytime soon. So our focus is on women. But back in like 1974, we actually allowed men to start purchasing life insurance from Royal Neighbors as well. So we do focus on men as well, but our major focus really is on empowering women in the local communities. Member benefits. So unlike some of our fraternal competitors, if you sell one of our contracts every year, or your customer owns one of our contracts, and in the fraternal world, we call them certificates, you are eligible for the full suite of member benefits available through Royal Neighbors. So it's very vast, but it's discounts on a whole variety of different things, such as prescription drugs. We have a service that's called Empathy, which is a pre and post funeral benefit. I could send the complete list of the fraternal benefits out to everybody. Very easy to access. I use them myself. But again, we make money to pump it back into the benefits that we provide. We are financially strong, very proud that we got upgraded to A in the middle of the pandemic. Right now, these are the 2022 financials. Actually, today, the 2023 year-end financials will come out. Assets increased to 1.5 billion. And I think our surplus is over 200 million now. So we are a very financially strong company. This is just a real quick shot. That's actually me in the background there in the dark shirt. I guess I'm probably the tallest guy in the photo, but my wife and I actually run the Royal Neighbors chapter in central New Jersey. And on the left-hand side, Royal Neighbors funds all of the fraternal activity that we do for the organization. So if you're ever interested, just reach out to me if you're interested in opening a chapter in your area. It is very simple. We submit once a quarter our volunteer hours, as long as they exceed 250 hours, which is very easy because we have a very large group. They send us a check for $700. So they provide us with $2,800 per year to help support the local groups. This picture is a group called Rose for the Hungry. They grow about 10,000 pounds of vegetables every year that we give to local food pantries. So it's all fresh vegetables that are grown there. All of these people are master gardeners, except for the little kids, and they volunteer their time to grow these great crops of vegetables. On the left, just real quick, we've nominated two different people, and two people both got checks for 10,000. And you can see a variety of other things that we've done. We donated a defibrillator. We donated to suicide prevention. But again, a lot of you are probably volunteering, whether you're on town council, you're a soccer coach, you're a Girl Scout leader. If you open up a chapter and you've got 10 people to help you, again, Royal Neighbors will help fund that. And that's something that we're very proud of. All righty. This is, I need probably a drum roll here. Insured Legacy is our new final expense product, which we launched 8 weeks ago. On the left-hand side is our old product, and on the right-hand side is Insured Legacy. So some of you may have previously sold our old product, but from this point forward, or actually 8 weeks ago, it's all about ELFI. We call it ELFI, Insured Legacy Final Expense. We used to have 2 risk classes. Now we've got 4. We went from standard and graded to preferred, standard, graded, and guaranteed issue. Face amounts were 7 to 30. And remember, focus on the right because this is the new product. We went down to 5,000 because we had an advisory panel of our top producers get together, told us that we needed to lower the face amount. We also increased the face amount to 40. The product has actually been filed up to 50, which we haven't released yet. But already our average case size went from 11,000 and now it's up to 14,000. For those of you that are selling final expense, face amounts are continuing to increase. The great news about larger face amounts is larger premiums, which also relate to larger commissions. So a lot of people are seeing the value in final expense. You see the statistics, 11,000 people every day turn age 65. Most do not have life insurance. You are in the market at the perfect time to be focusing on final expense business. So we anticipate probably before the end of the year that 40 will go up to 50, but for right now, just remember we're up to 40. We expanded our issue ages up to age 85. We're actually looking up to age 90. We're still considering that, but 50 to 85 is our current issue age. And last but not least, the riders. And I'll go through those in a little bit of greater detail. But again, our advisory council said that a lot of the agents love to sell riders. A lot of the customers like to purchase riders. So it's something, again, that you can add to the contracts, which is again, a lot of it increases the premium as well. And people are demanding those at this point. So important notes here. Our preferred rate starts at 25,000 and up. So if you go to quotas at 10,000, the best class you're going to see is standard. Our preferred, you can see on the slide here, only available 50 to 75. Again, we're going to monitor these and change them if we need to be. Our standard goes up to 85, so does graded, and our guaranteed issue goes to age 80. I always say I'm very transparent. Candid is my middle name. Our guaranteed issue product is really meant as an accommodation to our field force. But I know that through the alliance, you have other companies that have guaranteed issue products that are more competitive than we are. If somebody really loves Royal Neighbors and it's a husband and wife and the husband really loves the story and they like to purchase guaranteed issue from us, that's fine. But in the interest of your customer and always doing what's right and giving them the most competitive product that's out there, our product is not the least expensive. So again, I would encourage you, if you get into the guaranteed issue side of the product, that you take a look at the other product offerings that you have. If you know that somebody is right off the bat, they're guaranteed issue, you know that the conditions through your field underwriting is going to lead them to a guaranteed issue. I would take a look at some of the other companies because again, we're expensive here. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So I just want to make that very clear. We are focusing on preferred, standard, and graded. Right now, interestingly enough, 14% of the cases we're seeing are preferred, which is higher than the industry average. Industry average is usually about 8 to 10. So we're proud to talk about that. The bulk of our business is standard. And our graded product, I find to be very competitive as well. So a lot of people will be able to squeeze into graded. So don't forget about graded. Don't automatically pivot to guaranteed issue because graded can be a great option for a lot of the individuals that are not healthy enough, obviously, to get into the standard class. Our graded is 30% in the first year, 70% in the second year, 100% in the third year. It's day one coverage, competitive commissions. So it's a great alternative, again, to some of the guaranteed issue. I'm going to pop onto the riders and we'll see if we can save our questions till the end if we have them. All right, accidental death, a very popular rider that a lot of our agents told us that we wanted to add. There is a charge for accidental death. You can see the minimum face amounts and the different requirements to get into that category. The grandchild rider as well. You can issue a grandchild up to $5,000. It doesn't matter how many grandchildren the policy owner has. It costs you $60,000. It costs you $60, just $5 a month annually. And again, every grandchild that is born or adopted within that marriage or underneath the marriage can qualify. They can convert it if the insured passes or if the individual turns ages 17. And it's a good way to get some younger children in to an insurance policy and sort of guarantee their insurability at least up to $5,000. That right now is being selected at a rate about 25%. So that's a great rider. Accidental death is being issued on 70% of our contracts. The grandchild rider is being issued on 25%. And the last two riders are free: charitable giving and accelerated death benefit. If they are free, there's absolutely no reason for individuals to not take these riders. And candidly, I'm surprised that they're not selected 100% of the time. Charitable giving is running about 40%, and accelerated death benefit is running about 60%. So charitable giving rider, if the individual selects it, no charge for it. If the individual at the individual's death, Royal Neighbors will write a check for 1% of the face amount, up to $1,000, 5 charities that we have listed. So if an individual has a $40,000 policy, Royal Neighbors cuts a check for $400. The charities are a variety of ones that we selected. Those are going to be expanded over time, but that is free. So it's part of our mission, and I think it's a nice way to leave something small behind for a charity of their choice. And hopefully once we expand that, it may even be available to their church or their civic group or whatever, as long as it's a 501c3. Accelerated death benefit, critically important. If I've got a $40,000 death benefit and I have a critical, chronic, or terminal illness, without the accelerated death benefit rider, I have no way to get access to that money. All right. So it is very important to make sure that I can get access to it so that I can potentially pay off some of my medical bills. So I encourage everybody, no excuse to not have an accelerated death benefit rider added to the contract. These are probably an eye test for some people like me, but if you take a look on the left-hand side, it's our risk assessment guide. This is available on our portal. I can also send it out to you if you want it, but what it does is it gives you some preliminary ratings based upon the different types of conditions that are out in the senior market. On the right, I think of myself, I just turned 60. I know I don't look it, but I am 6'2". And right now I weigh just a shade over 200 pounds. But for me at 6'2", I could go all the way up to 305 pounds and still get a preferred rate, assuming all of my other medical conditions are fine, which they are. But I think we're very liberal in our maximum weight for preferred. So for generally healthy people, they should be seeing preferred offers through Royal Neighbors. Again, our standard is competitive as well, but I think we try to see if we can squeeze as many people into the preferred category as possible. So I think we're seeing that already with our 14% preferred issue rate. This is one of the questions that I was asked to address on the diabetic side. So, and I can share this presentation with anybody who wants a copy of it. So we have made some changes to our diabetic stance, but we believe that it's actually more competitive than it was previously. So if you take a look at this top left-hand column, if you have diabetes and you're using insulin, if you do not have an underlying condition, previously the best class you could get was standard, but now we're seeing people get preferred. So their normal height and weight, they're taking insulin. I'm sorry, they're not taking insulin. They can opt into the preferred class if they are healthy enough. Where the major changes come into play with us on the diabetes side, and we're actually seeing more people issued preferred and standard than we were previously, is that if you are taking insulin, which is about 15% of our current customers, and you have an underlying condition, those now end up in the graded. The bulk of the diabetics that we see, which is 85% of the diabetics, they are either on metformin or they're taking a pill as opposed to injecting insulin. Those are the individuals that we're going to offer a better class. So you can still, our biggest claim to fame was, I am a non-insulin diabetic who has neuropathy. That with us is issued standard. If I am a non-insulin diabetic with no underlying conditions, I can potentially qualify for preferred, or worst case would be standard. And then even if you look down here at the bottom, I've got insulin and I've got retinopathy. We didn't ask that previously. That's going to be a guarantee, or sorry, that's going to be a graded death benefit. It's not guaranteed death benefit. The GDB is graded death benefit. But insulin with neuropathy is going to be issued as a graded as opposed to standard. So 85% of the diabetics that will apply to us will be getting the same or better offer, and about 15% of those that apply to us who used to get standard will now be getting graded. I hope that was clear, and I'll share it. So again, the bulk of the people that we see in the diabetic marketplace are not on insulin. They're taking metformin or an oral medication. They do have underlying conditions and they'll still be eligible for standard or preferred. It's the insulin dependent diabetics that have an underlying condition that will now be in the graded category. All right. And hopefully, if you read this for a few times, it makes sense. The other question we hear quite often is COPD. Previously, COPD always went directly to graded. Now COPD can be issued standard with us, which is competitive, as long as they don't smoke. So COPD, smoking cigarettes, that's always going to end up in our guaranteed issue class because that is not a good combination for most insurance companies. All right, just to give you an idea, and I hate to call other carriers out, but believe me, Royal Neighbors has been taking it on the chin since I've been here as far as our pricing goes. So this is a 65. This is where I'm really impressed with the job that our actuaries did. This is a 65-year-old preferred non-tobacco looking for $35,000 of death benefit. And you can see our LP product, if it's issued preferred, because remember, you have to be over 25,000 to get the preferred class. And right now, again, we got about 14% of those people qualifying. You can see where we stack up versus most of the competitors here. I have some more detailed information on the next ones, which are a little bit of an eye test, but just to give you an idea of where we were and where we've gotten to. So we want larger faces from healthy people. It's a great way for us to diversify our business. Previously, it was all small face amounts for individuals that were standard or graded. So we are really making a push into the preferred marketplace. This is just a quick snapshot. This is a female age 65 preferred non-smoker at our minimum preferred face. This comes directly from Fex Quotes. So I don't ever bash any of our competitors. These are all great companies out there. And a lot of these organizations I see on a weekly basis when I'm out there. But for a female 65 looking for 25,000, down the bottom in the yellow, that was the best price you could get from us just 8 short weeks ago. And you can see we were, I don't know what that is, number 20, our level death benefit product. Now you can see in the green, this is our new Elfie product, how competitive we've gotten. Some of these companies that we quote up against are not available in all states. They're really small fraternal organizations, but you can see we really leapfrogged up the list of different companies that are out there. So truly healthy, large face amount. The yellow standard at the bottom is still our standard rate, which again is still probably a top 20 pricing. But again, it's nice for us to see us up top here with a truly competitive preferred rate for those that qualified. And here's a quick snapshot of a male age 65. Again, you can see we've really leapfrogged up from down here in the yellow, which was our current standard, which was our old best rate, all the way up to Elfie up top here in the green. So we've made a significant push into the preferred marketplace at the larger face amounts. All right, state availability. We are in most states. I guess we've probably got 6. I will probably say we will, I don't want to offend anybody. If you're in Alaska, we probably will never be there. We'll probably never be in New York just because to be domiciled in New York, you have to set up a separate company. You have to have space there. Currently applying in Louisiana and Alabama. Massachusetts is a difficult state to do business in, but I would say Louisiana and Alabama at least will pretty much capture the bulk of the business across the continental U.S. And again, New York is probably a never have, but hopefully we'll be in Alabama and Louisiana before the end of the year. Just a little quick overview of how you can write us. Our e-app is available to be done face-to-face or remotely. All right, so if you're talking to somebody over the phone, we love face-to-face space. Most of our face-to-face business, most of our distribution is face-to-face. It's more persistent. You build a relationship. That's the way I always did it. If I got back into sales, I would do it again. But you can, if it's a snowy night and it's a 3-hour drive and the customer just has to have the coverage before the weekend, you could do it over the phone if you absolutely have to. We have a way to either text them or email them a DocuSign so they can execute it remotely. You can still do it over the phone. We were pretty much the first company to allow agents to sell life insurance over the phone. That is still available. And if you're sitting with the customer, you can dial into our 800 number and we'll ask all the questions, or you can do that remotely as well. And I'm certainly not recommending it, but we do have a paper application. So if you're out in the middle of nowhere and there's no Wi-Fi, you know there's going to be no Wi-Fi signal. I used to always, or if I was back in the field, I'd probably keep a paper app in my briefcase if I absolutely had to use it. But that's pretty much that's the last way you want to execute business. Because again, we're point of sale decision. The customer will know what they qualify for before you leave the house or you drop you hang up the phone. Paper application is just archaic. I don't recommend it, but it's a good fallback if for some reason the internet just happens to go out. So how to quote us? Come through our portal. We are on WinFlex for quoting on the portal. Most people use our tool that is an iPhone or Droid app. You could just download it. If you happen to use any of the commonly utilized final expense quoting tools, we're also there. We're on the Alliance internal quoting tool. And actually, Integrity is in the process of building a quoting tool as well, and we'll be one of the first. I think it's actually already deployed. We're on that too. So there's no shortage of ways to be able to quote the Royal Neighbors final expense product. This is just a little demo how to get there and a little quick demo of our mobile app. You can see everything. You can look at pending business, and I'll just leave that QR code there for a second. I think it should work if you take a picture of it. It does when I put it on a screen when I'm at a meeting, but if you take a picture of that, it should allow you to download the app to your phone, which will allow you to quote directly from your phone. And a lot of our agents do it that way as well. If you're nervous and you're going out for the first time, if you've got a Royal Neighbors writing code, all you need to do is go to the Insured Legacy Sandbox. The live application is there. It's not a real case, but it'll allow you to go through the application in advance. That way you'll know what questions are going to come up, especially if it's your first time. It's very similar to most of our competitors' e-apps. The only time, if the customer wants preferred, and I would give everyone a shot at it, you'll see a few additional questions like height and weight. We need height and weight to get the preferred offer. If you choose to not enter that, you can skip over it and go directly to standard. But again, I always like to at least try. It's always good to know, or at least to rule it out, whether they're available for preferred or not. But I encourage you to hop on, read through the material. It's pretty straightforward. It's final expense. This is not rocket science. And the ability just to be able to navigate the app if you haven't done it before. I think the Sandbox is a great way to be able to make sure you know what you're doing before you get in front of the customer. This is our sales support number. Again, I'm sales support too. I'm very good at delegating. I'm on planes a lot. So texting is great and email is great because I'm always online. If you call me, it could take me 4 hours to get back to you, depending upon where I'm flying to. But our sales support team is always available. They pride themselves on picking the phone up quick. If you have any questions, believe me, I'm in charge of the relationship that we have with the Alliance, and you guys are growing dramatically with us. So I like to get involved in everything. I'm kind of a micromanager when it comes to things. I always say all the good ideas come from the field. Even some quick revisions to our Elfie product and our e-app have already been suggestions from our IMOs that do business with Royal Neighbors. You know, we're constantly learning and constantly trying to improve. But if for some reason you can't get me, our sales support team will take really good care of you. Here's another quick QR code. I think this one's going to take you to the digital toolkit. Now, remember, you will need a Royal Neighbors agent number, and you'll have a sign on to our agent web portal. But again, this is a great way to make sure that you're familiar with our application and the product itself so that you don't get caught off guard if anybody asks questions. And play in the sandbox. The application right now is probably taking, for the first timers that are doing the app, it's taking them about 30 minutes just because they're not used to it. After individuals get used to the application, the e-app it's pretty much on average about 22 minutes in total. So it's relatively quick. I'd like to get it down under 20 minutes if I could, and we're working on that. But that's the overall feedback we're getting from my advisory council. And with that, I will be quiet and open up the floor to questions if anyone should have any. And Rachel, I can't see for some reason, I can't see the
question box.
Yeah, so if you want to just tell me what they are, I'll be happy to answer. And I'm not an expert on everything. If I don't know them, I'll get back to you with the right answer.
Sounds great. So we actually don't have any questions right now. If you guys have any, feel free to put them in the Telegram or to put them in. Okay, yep, we just had one roll through.
I'm gonna put myself back to the front page here so they can.
So we have a question that is asking, do we have a cap on our commission through NAA?
You know what? That I would refer you to your upline. What I can say is we recently made changes to the caps because our average premium is much larger than it used to be. So, but I would refer you to your upline, but you should not run into an issue with a commission being capped on final expense. But
Perfect.
again,
And then
yeah, I would send you back to your upline on that because we, the upline or whatever deals with the commission questions.
as far as I just want to highlight again. So for preferred, the minimum is 25,000 for preferred, correct?
That is correct.
But the minimum for standard is 5,000.
That is correct.
Okay, all right. So I just wanted to highlight on that. Highlight again, you guys, that this is a great company for us to be writing COPD. Another a company that we can do with diabetic neuropathy. Again, he kind of went over, you know, if they're on insulin or if they're a smoker, there's some differences with the COPD and the diabetic complications. So if you've got more questions, feel free to circle back with us either on Telegram, me directly, or David. We can get those answered. We write Royal Neighbors a lot in this group. So this was something that we definitely wanted you guys to see. And to having David's contact information is absolutely incredible. Just being able to have a representative who, you know, understands where you're at, but also has, you know, your best interest in mind is incredible. So thank you so much, David, for jumping on with us today and being a resource for our team to,
Yep. And Rachel, I would just reiterate, listen, if you get a decision other than what you expected, it's important that you know, right? We all work really hard. We pay for leads. We get into a household. And if I didn't get what I was expecting, it's important that you understand why.
Okay.
So reach out to me directly. I will find out for you, and then at least you'll be educated as to why the decision is. Sometimes we may make a mistake, so I'll get that fixed.
Okay, that sounds great. Well, thank you so much for your time today, David. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys for being with us today, and we will follow up later this week on our presentation Thursday night. Thanks again.
All right, terrific. Thank you.
Thank you.